The darling of Australia at the moment, especially with private buyers, is Mazda. And I think what encapsulate Mazda's popularity in Australia in one model is the CX-5.
It's a really, really strong all-rounder, and prior to this event, I think if you'd have quietly asked most of the judges what the favourite ahead of the event was, they would have said the Mazda CX-5.
If the CX-5 wins this year, that's going to be 3 Car of the Year titles on the trot for Mazda, and that's never happened before in the history of Wheels Car of the Year. So whatever they're drinking in the water at Hiroshima right now, keep drinking it, guys, because you're on a roll.
It's a car that has no real serious weakness.
Instead, it really nails the basics. It does everything a mid-size SUV needs to do, and that puts it right at the pointy end of its class.
The new CX-5 really is a sign of Mazda listening and reacting to criticism.
The biggest thing they've addressed with this car is NVH, the road noise in particular.
The old car was a bit noisy, had a lot of tyre roar, which is a bit of a Mazda bugbear to be honest, but this car really is refined.
There's a lot more poise to the chassis and just the way the steering translates into its fluidity through corners.
I've taken one on a long-term road trip before, and it just sailed through ice, it sailed through countryside, highways.
It's just such a smooth thing to drive now, and it feels pleasantly expensive as a result.
They didn't change the core recipe, so it's still a 2-litre petrol, a 2.5 litre petrol all-wheel drive, and a 2.2 litre diesel all-wheel drive.
Mazda have their own particular take on, Atmo engines being competitive with downsized turbo engines for efficiency.
They put slightly larger engines that would be a little less stressed, and in the real world would often get you better fuel economy.
It does look like it's essentially a rebodied version of the old car, but it's a lot more than that.
It's got more space inside, and we've got little things like rear air vents, for example, which weren't available in the previous models.
They completely redesigned the car with an all-new interior with palpably higher quality materials.
There's nothing cheap or dinky about it.
Before, it was all about the front seats, and anyone in the back seat, too bad. No air vents, no cup holders, no real map pockets. They've actually thought about the comfort of people who sit in the rear, and given that this is actually Australia's best-selling SUV and a family car, that stuff matters.
There's a broad range to choose from. It covers everything from fairly basic front-wheel drive ones to all-wheel drive cars that are astonishingly competent in all weathers.
I can totally see why Australians just flock to this car, because it presents a premium experience at a mainstream price.
Certainly in the mid-spec 2.5 litre all-drive S-Touring and GT grades, that thing is where it's at its sweet spot, and I don't think anything can beat it for 38 to 42 grand.
It's a car that will appeal to a lot of people. It does so much right.
If you're looking for a mid-size SUV that is sporty to drive, has a really nicely trimmed cabin that feels premium, and has really improved in the area that it needed to most, which is cabin noise and refinement, buy the Mazda CX-5.